too much about making white kids feel bad because they get so much false messages about their goodness that it's actually kind of critically important for them.
Don't worry about making white kids feel bad, huh? That was Drake University professor Dr. Jennifer Harvey taking questions about the Hate Whitey program of critical race theory. Joining me now, senior fellow at the Manhattan Institute and City Journal contributing editor, Christopher Rufo. Mr. Rufo, welcome to the Chris Salcedo Show. It's great to see you. And maybe it's people like Professor Harvey there who inspired over 35,000 Americans to fire back at the Department of Education for deciding to fund a critical race theory curriculum in government-run schools. Education Secretary Cardona canceled the proposal after angry parents said they didn't want it. Much of this is due to your reporting, sir. This is kind of a victory, yes?
Yeah, I think it is. And, the Biden administration and Miguel Cardona, who's obviously a great supporter of critical race theory, had originally intended to tie federal K-12 grants to implementation of critical race theory. This would, in essence, incentivize critical race theory nationwide, putting some kind of pressure or dangling a carrot in front of local public schools to implement critical race theory in the classroom. And they got a flood of comments, 35,000 comments from Americans of all political and racial backgrounds trashing the program. And, over the weekend, they backed down, which I think is a victory. And I think it really is a clear signal that even the Biden administration's most hardened ideologues like Miguel Cardona are realizing that critical race theory is political poison. It would jeopardize their political standing with the majority of the American people. And they wisely, although probably not permanently, downsize the program and scrap their initial plans.
It's also very divisive. The NAACP official Michelle Leet, who wished death on parents who oppose the racist, hate-filled critical race theory, she's resigned from the PTA, but not from the NAACP or from Biden's government. Apparently, the National Association for the Advancement of Progressive Colored People and the Biden administration support her wishing death on her political opponents. With her lies about parents and her calls for violence, it's no wonder she supports this critical race theory curriculum, but she's not the only one out there. There are more just like her. How would you suggest parents weed out all of these vile and violent extremists?
Well, I think in this particular case, it's important to know that at that school, at the Thomas Jefferson School in the kind of greater D.C., Virginia area, the people that are leading the charge are not white. Actually, it's mostly Asian American parents, Indian American parents who want a merit-based education, who want their kids to be challenged, to be rigorous, to be rewarded for their academic success. And I think that this is really the key. We need to do two things. We need to build a bipartisan coalition. That's already happening. We also need to build a multiracial or multi-ethnic coalition. That's happening in this very clip that you showed now. And I think that with those two things locked in, we are representing a strong majority of Americans who oppose this. Listen, we should acknowledge the history of race and racism and injustice in our country, but we shouldn't promote critical race theory, which takes that as the premise, but concludes that America is irredeemably racist, that concludes that we should employ active racial discrimination to solve social problems. That is a deeply unpopular opinion with Americans of all different backgrounds.
Absolutely. And I have been so heartened that those who have been the most boisterous about opposing this cancerous curriculum have been people of color, blacks, as you mentioned, Asians, Latinos out there, decrying this for what it is, divisive. Now, speaking of divisive, the founder of the New York Times 1619 Project, her name is Nicole Hannah-Jones, recently came out in support of the brutal and bloodthirsty communist regime in Cuba. Now, many left-wing school administrators are pushing the lies of the 1619 Project in tandem with critical race theory. Their support for communist regimes is telling, isn't it?
Yeah, but I mean, it really isn't a surprise. You see Black Lives Matter organization endorsing, Cuban communism. Nicole Hannah-Jones says that the Cuban communist regime has reduced racial inequalities, which is a complete absurd statement. When you put everyone under a condition of misery, they might be somewhat equal, but they're all miserable. And I think that this is a really trend that we've seen for the last 50 years. People on the progressive left espousing, in theory, virtues like freedom and equality, have supported the bloodiest and most dictatorial regimes, whether it's in the USSR, in communist China, in communist Cuba, that have left a trail of the dead behind them. And We should have no illusions about what they're pushing. It's not merely about diversity, equity, and inclusion. Those are the official buzzwords. These are people who rationalize and enable and run defense for the most atrocious, violent, and frankly, totalitarian regimes of the past 100 years.
Christopher Rufo, your reporting has been exemplary on all of this. You have put the New York Times, the Washington Post, and all these, the ABC networks to shame on your reporting. Great job, and come back again soon, sir.
Hi, Emma Reckenberg here. If you like this video, there's a whole lot more to see on Newsmax TV. You can watch for free right here on our YouTube live stream and be the first one here each time our experts break down real news. Just hit that subscribe button, ring the bell icon, and stay with us on America's fastest growing cable news channel, Newsmax TV.